I will be doing this lesson. Give me 1 second. All right. Give me 1 second. Okay. Because I want to touch on this topic because it's important to understand this breakdown in this topic because it's something that we have to always be mindful of and take heed to. Okay. And understand the importance of the tribe of Judah. So give me like good 20 seconds and I'll be ready to break this down. All right. So let me go ahead and let me go ahead and adjust my phone real quick. So I will be posting this on my page when I'm done. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and go right in. So first and foremost, I want to say Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Shai, Brak Yahweh, Brak Shai, Brak Yahweh, Brak Shai, Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right. It's Rayabi Bungad in Seattle Zillat, and I'm here to do a breakdown, do a lesson dealing with the Melchizedek Priesthood and dealing with Yahawashi. All right. All right, and I will touch in on understanding the breakdown of two, dealing with him being the incarnate of Melchizedek, or Melchizedek being the incarnate of Yahawashi, so to speak. So with that said, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and break this down. All right, and shalom to everybody that comes in. Let me go ahead and go to this, all right, because this is something that's very important because brothers and sisters, all right, from the various tribes and of the 12 tribes of Israel, right, you have to understand that the tribe of Judah is important. It's very important dealing with the tribe of Judah that this is the chosen line, all right, this is the chosen seed line that our people would come from, or that our Lord and Savior would come from. So we have to give praise and reverence. That's why when you deal with the word Judah, you deal with the tribe of Judah, right? It goes back to what? The Most High's praise, all right? Yahweh in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh's praise, all right? And we have to understand that we have to give that reverence and respect to the tribe of Judah, man. You know what I'm saying? And we have to understand that we have to give reverence to the priest order of Melchizedek, all right? And give reverence to Yahawashi, who established the Melchizedek priest order before all this began. All these little different, this priest order, the Levitical priest order began. And it's something we have to understand, and it's something that we have to give reverence to and respect to, all right? So with that said, I want to go ahead and go to John, the 8th chapter. All right, because we have to understand that the Most High, when you deal with Yahawashi, He's the beginning of the law, and He's the end of the law. So, and He's the Word in the flesh, right? I just want to go into this, which proves reincarnation in the scriptures and proving the incarnation of Yahawashi in particular. All right, so this is St. John, the 8th chapter. All right, let's go to the book of St. John in the 8th chapter. Because one thing, also too, I want to say this, dealing with the tribe of Judah, we understand that the tribe of Judah is the line and lineage that Christ comes from, Yahawashi comes from, right? And we also have to understand that the tribe of Judah being the head tribe because of that, and understand that there should be no bickering back and forth of who's the better tribe or envy towards Judah, right? We have to give reverence to that. We have to give reverence to the priest order of Melchizedek, because it's the reason why you have 144,000. This is the reason why you have priests amongst all the tribes, not just the tribe of Levi. And understand that the tribe of Levi and the priesthood of The Levitical priest order has its place, and it's going to have its place in the kingdom of heaven. But you have to understand what predates that and what oversees that is the Melchizedek order because of who the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahawashi HaMashiach, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and go to this. St. John, the 8th chapter, and I'm going to go to the verse 49. And Yahawashi answered, I have not a devil, but I honor my Father, and he do dishonor me. So he's speaking to who? The dishonorable, wicked Pharisees and Sadducees of that time, the two Israelite sects at that time that were, in particular, you had those wicked high priests, right? That would go in and disrespect the Lord by disrespecting His Son and not believing in the law that prophesied of the truth, prophesied of Yahawashi. All right. So with that said, let's continue on. All right. So you can understand who he's speaking to. Right. Then said the Jews unto him, verse 52. Then said the Jews unto him, now we know that thou hast a devil. Abraham is dead. Oh, Salakia, let me go to verse 50. I'm getting ahead of myself. And I said verse 50. And it says verse 50. See how I speaking. And I seek not my own. I seek not my own glory. There is one that seeketh and judgeth. Right. So he seeketh and judgeth. Right. He's the ultimate judge. He's the man that's under the head man, which is the Most High, because he's the Son of the Most High. Right. I seek not my own glory. There is one that seeketh and judgeth. He don't seek his own glory. He does. He said that he comes to do the will of his Father. Speaking of Yahawashi, verse 52, and it says, then said the Jews unto him, now we know that thou hast a devil, and Abraham is dead, or Slaki, Abraham is dead, and the prophets, and thou sayest, if a man keep my sayings, he shall never taste death. All right, because you have, in particular, individuals that, even in today's time, that will speak against the Most High, speak against Yahawashi, overtly, I should say, and inadvertently. All right, with certain doctrines, certain breakdowns that they have, speaking against him directly and taking the shine away from him and bringing it to the shine of something else that is beneath him. Whether it be the Levitical priest order, whether it be their own vain desires or whatever, we have to understand that they did this of old time and they're doing this now. All right. And shalom to all the brothers and sisters that come in. All right. Like I said, so verse 52, you know what I'm saying? And he's the beginning and end of the law. He's the word in the flesh. We have to understand that, right? So let's go ahead and go to verse 53. Verse 53, art thou greater than our father Abraham, which is dead, and the prophets are dead? Whom makest thou thyself? Yahawashi answered, if I honor myself, my honor is nothing. It is my Father that honoreth me, of whom ye say that he is your God. Right? He honoreth the Most High, not himself, right? Yet ye have not known him, but I know him. And if I should say, know him not, I shall be a liar, like unto you. But I know him and keep his sayings. Yeah, he says he knows him and keeps his sayings. He lies not. He doesn't lie to the Most High, right? He knows the Most High because the Lord gave him the power to understand this truth and to bring this truth out and to be the beginning of the word. He is the word in the flesh. John, the 1st chapter, the 1st verse. So on and so forth, right? In verse 57, then said the Jews unto him, thou art not yet 50 years old. Hast thou seen Abraham? Verse 58, Yahawashi said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am, right? Before Abraham was, I am. All right. Then took they up stones to cast at him, But Yahawashi hid himself and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, and so passed by. So obviously, what is he giving reference to about him saying, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am"? He basically was saying that I came before Abraham, and he did. He came before Abraham by way of being the first man, Adam, and also to being Melchizedek, right? So understanding this, he was before Abraham. Okay. So now understanding this, let's go ahead and go to Hebrews the 7th chapter. All right. Let's go to Hebrews 7 chapter in the 14th verse, right? Because we're going to go into this, get into this understanding. All right. Actually, you know what? Let me go to Genesis, the 14th chapter, in the 8th verse. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Let me go to Genesis 14 and 18. Okay. And hit this point real quick. Okay. And this is who Abraham gave reverence to. All right. Because Abraham, like it says in verse 56, right? John 8 and 56. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. And he's also speaking of him being Isaac, but also too as Melchizedek. Okay. So with that said, let's go to Genesis the 14th chapter and the 18th verse. All right. So this is the book of Genesis chapter 14, and I'm gonna go to the 17th verse, right? All right, this is after Abraham, our great forefather, overcome and conquered the Sodomite king and delivered Lot and whatnot. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to verse. Let's go to verse 18. Let's get to the point. All right. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 17, giving the context. Genesis 14 and 17. And the king of Sodom, right, went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him at the valley of Shavah, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, right? King of Salem. And what does the word Salem means? It means peace, right? What does Yahawashi reference as? The king of peace, right? And actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and get that. Let's get that Isaiah 9 and 6. Go to Isaiah 9 and 6 real quick. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 6. And it says, right? Oh, you know, yeah, Isaiah 9 and 6. For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So the government, speaking of the powers that be, is going to be on the hands, in the order and structure of who the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahawashi, from the tribe of Judah, right? Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Right? So King of Salem, and then Yahawashi's reference is what? The King of Peace. And let me read verse 7. Of the increase of his government and the peace, there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it, to establish it with judgment, with justice, from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. So what is it speaking on? This is speaking on Yahawashi, being the Prince of Peace. All right. So verse 18, and King Melchizedek, king of Salem, king of peace, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. All right, the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham That's like it. Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thy enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. So Abraham, like Yahawashi said, reverenced him because he was Adam, he was Isaac, but he also was Melchizedek. That's why it said that he rejoiced to see my day. Seeing what day? Seeing the day of Melchizedek and the days of him being Isaac. Speaking of Yahawashi, right? So, blessed be the Most High God, which had delivered thy enemies into thy hand, and he gave him tithes of all. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, give me the persons and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldst say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten in the portion of the men which went with me. Enter Eshel Mamre, let them take their portion. You know what I'm saying? Well, so let's go ahead and continue on. You know what I'm saying? So giving you an understanding that Yahawashi was who? Melchizedek. All right. Just in those quick scriptures I pulled out, but understanding, you know, how the Melchizedek priest order, you know, where and what timeline in the scriptures it comes from. All right. So let's go ahead and go to Hebrews, the 7th chapter, in the 14th verse, right? Let's go ahead and go to this. Go ahead and go to Hebrews 7 and 14. All right. So this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, verse 14. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back into the chapter of Hebrews the 7th chapter. I'm gonna go back in here, but I'm gonna go here, go there, just like the scriptures tell you to. So Hebrews 7 and 14. For it is evident that our Lord, speaking of Yahawashi, sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. So this is the reason why we got to correlate things. We got to put things together, right? Melchizedek priest order goes back to where? The time of Abram, before he was even called Abraham. Okay, speaking of our great forefather Abraham, our great patriarch forefather Abraham, right? Yahawashi, who was Melchizedek, Abraham gave reference to. All right, and he was a priest under the order of the Most High. And of course, when you deal with, like I read, I'm gonna read this again. The Levitical priest order is a priestly order of the Most High, because when you deal with Levi, it means join unto. And who is it joined unto? The Most High. Okay. Speaking of the sons and daughters of Levi, in particular the sons, right? There's no priestesses in the nation of Israel, but I'm saying Levi, right? They're joined into the Most High. But what priest order predated that? The Melchizedek priest order. Hebrews 7 and 14. Let me read this again. And it says, for it is evident, all right, it is evident, proof that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. Moses spoke nothing of this concerning the priesthood. Why? Because although when you deal with the fact that the priesthood was shown by way of Moses, Yahawashi predates the Levitical priest order. He's the word, because when you deal with the law, he is the law in the flesh. He is the word in the flesh. All right. So dealing with that, he was Melchizedek he's Melchizedek in the reincarnation of Yahawashi when he walked the earth at that time. Okay. So let's go. So I'm gonna go back to Hebrews 7th chapter. All right. So let's go ahead and go to this, right? let's go to, let's go ahead and go to Genesis, the 49th chapter, because we got to get a clear understanding, all right, of us not exalting ourselves over Judah, right? And we're gonna, and like I said, it goes back to what? Yahweh's praise. Okay. So Genesis the 49th chapter, the very first verse, right? Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. So guess what? This is the last days that we're living in, right? Now, let me bring this out. When were the last days established? Let's go ahead and go to that. All right. Let's go ahead and go to that. We got to understand, okay, the last days are when? Okay. So there's no, like the scriptures say, that there's no confusion, right? Genesis 49:1. I'm going to read this again. I'm going to pull this out. 49:1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days, right? So let's bring this out in Hebrews, right? We got to know where the last days are according to the scriptures, right? So let's go to Hebrews, the first chapter. And I'm going to go to, I'm going to start at verse 1 real quick. Okay. God, so Hebrews 1:1. God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. So he spoke to our fathers by who? The prophets, man. Verse 2. Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he had appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, right? Whom also he made the world, different governing bodies, different powers that are ruling this earth. All right. Through who is, so when his son was born into this flesh, into this physical realm, that's when the last days occurred. All right. So let's skip down to Judah, verse 7. All right. Actually, yeah, verse 7. Actually, verse 8. Genesis 49:8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Right. So we supposed to, our brothers, the 12 tribes praise Judah. Right. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Right. Speaking of these race wars, speaking of these things that are soon to come. Right. What goes around comes around against the so-called white men, the Edomites. Right. Thou art God, actually, Slakia. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Speaking of these other nations, right? So, verse 9, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Verse 10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. So, nor a lawgiver between his feet. The scepter, the rulership, him being the top brother in Israel, shall not depart from Judah. Okay? Nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. Shiloh means peace. Who's this referencing? Yahawashi. And what is this talking about? A lawgiver between his feet. What is that talking about? It's talking about the seed line, the loins, the seed line of that particular man. Speaking of Judah, speaking of that lineage, right? Unto him, Shiloh, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Okay? And that's also speaking of what? That's speaking of how Yahawashi would establish, the reawakening of the 12 tribes under him through his apostles and whatnot. James 1:1, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, right? But also, too, the priest order of the gift of being a priest, the way Melchizedek was a priest, because he was not an Israelite, although he was one of our own, but he didn't have a father or mother. That means he was manifested by the Most High. All right. That was a priest of the Most High, but the order that we deal with is the priestly order, okay, of the Most High, which is the Melchizedek order. All right. So let me read this again, just because, this verse is not really broken down that much amongst Israel, but this has to be broken down and this has to be expounded upon so that we understand why there's a priest amongst, the whole, the whole 12 tribes, all the brothers of the 12 tribes, right? So verse 10, Genesis 49:10, the scepter, the rulership, the head tribe in particular, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. So the lawgiver between his feet is talking about that seed line. Who came out of Judah? Yahawashi did. He came from the seed line of Judah, right? Until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be. No different than how he was the beginning and the end of the law. Yahawashi is the beginning of this priest order, and he's the end of the priest order of this particular order. And this is how, and this is how all of our brothers can come back in, not only to this knowledge, but all the brothers from the different 12 tribes can become priests now. All right, under that order, under the Melchizedek order. All right. So, I'm trying to see what part. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and go to First Chronicles. Yeah, First Chronicles, the 5th chapter, the very first verse. Right. So we have to understand, why this is. This is the chosen. This is the head tribe of Israel, speaking of the tribe of Judah. All right. So let's go to Chronicles real quick. Go to the book of Chronicles. Go to the book of Chronicles 5 and verse 1. So this is the book of Chronicles chapter 5 verse 1. Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel. All right. In the genealogy is not to be reckoned after the birthright, right? Verse 2, for Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph. But the key point is, for Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler. He's the chief ruler. He's the chief head of the house of Israel. All right. And that lawgiver between his feet, speaking of the loin, speaking of the seed line, Yahawashi would come and establish the priest order that predated the Levitical priest order. All right. So, let's go ahead and go to Psalms real quick. Okay. Because of him, the gathering of the people shall be. The establishing of the Melchizedek priest order began with him. All right. The gathering of all the 12 tribes. All right. Because you have to remember, there was Israelites that were scattered in Samaria at the time, which were of the northern kingdom. And that's proven in the book of Josephus. All right. There were still northern kingdom tribes that didn't leave the Assyrian captivity, that didn't even get put in the Assyrian captivity, that still stayed over there, that needed to be taught this word to. That's why he said, don't go to the city of the Gentiles and into the city of Samaritans. All right. And the Gentiles are talking about the other nations, but also to Samaria, where the Israelites once were at one particular time, but there were still some Israelites still scattered over there. And that's proven. All right. He had to be the one to go over there and to establish this truth, this knowledge and that life back unto them. So that same concept is installed into this Melchizedek priesthood, right? So let's go to Psalms, the 110th chapter, all right? And we're going to go, Slocky, we're going to go to the 110th chapter, in the first verse, all right? So this Psalms 110, right? Because everything revolves around Yahawashi and the priest order of the Melchizedek priest order. Everything revolves around him, and also to the tribe of Judah. All right. Nor a lawgiver between his feet. You got to remember that. The scepter now shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver between his feet. And who's going to establish that? Yahawashi through the loins of Judah, which he was Melchizedek. And I got to keep reiterating this so it can be baked into your understanding and mind, the importance of both the tribe of Judah, Yahawashi, and Melchizedek, the Melchizedek priest order. So let's go to Psalms 110. The book of Psalms, chapter 110, in verse 1. The Lord said unto my Lord, right? The Lord said unto my Lord, speaking of David. So the Most High said unto my Lord, speaking of Yahawashi, right? Sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. So sit thou unto my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. In other words, look, sit here until that time comes, and then to gather the elect and to wreak havoc upon this place, take down the current rulership, and reestablish the kingdom of heaven with the heathens beneath our feet. In other words, right? So let's go to Hebrews 1 and 8. Okay? Go to the book of Hebrews 1 and 8. All right? So the book of Hebrews chapter 1, verse 8. And it says, but unto the Son, he said, but unto the Son, thy saith. That's like you. But unto the Son, he saith, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Right. So that scepter of thy righteousness, right? Like it says, a scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom, which are the laws, right? Which is the truth of the scriptures, right? Which is the Most High's kingdom, which is the life. And Yahawashi are all those things wrapped into one. All right. So thy throne, like it says, let me read this again. But unto the Son, he said, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness and the scepter of thy throne. So everything has to revolve around Yahawashi. But also, too, we have to understand that he goes back to the tribe of Judah. All right. And the priestly order that's being established that is conjuring up the 144,000, not just one tribe, is the Melchizedek priest order, which is ordained by the Most High. Okay. So with that said, let's go ahead and go to, actually, you know what? Let me bring this out too. Let me give Revelations 5 and 5 real quick, the 5th chapter, because this makes sense, because it shows you the establishment in the great government that's going to be established by who the world calls Christ, right? Which is Yahawashi. And this is how we know that everything revolves around him. Everything is going to be established by him and governed by him, with the Most High. The only one that's above him is the Most High. Yahawashi, the angels, the 144,000, the 1/3, the 2/3. Okay. So with that said, Revelation 5 and 1. All right. And this is how deep and important this is, because this is the man that was the man that was given the ability to break down these seals, right? All right. So, or, you know what I'm saying, the one that gives John the Revelator the understanding. So let me read Revelation, the 5th chapter. Revelation 5 and 1. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven nor in earth, neither under the heaven, was able to open the book, neither took look thereon. And I wept much because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. Verse 5. And one of the elders saith unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, right? Nor the lawgiver between his feet, nor the scepter, right, shall depart from Judah. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the seven seals thereof. So Yahawashi was the one to loose these seven seals. All right. He was the one worthy, which shows you the importance of him and him establishing the government, him being the one to bring forth the tribes of Israel together, him bringing forth the priestly order of Melchizedek through the loins of Jacob, through the loins of Judah, right? So with that said, let's go to Hebrews 5 and 6, because that was the only man that can do that. That was the only being that can do that, I should say. So Hebrews 5 and 6, right? It says, so also Christ glorified not himself to be made an high priest. Why? Because Yahawashi, because remember, it said he made himself a little lower than the angels to be the sacrifice for the nation of Israel, right? Actually, where is that at? Hebrews, I know it's in 2nd chapter, right? Yeah, Hebrews 2 and 9, right? But we see Yahawashi, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of God, should taste death for every man, every Israelite man, right? For it became him for whom all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. Right? Verse 11, for both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, right? Because that's how humble he is, even though he's the king in the kingdom of heaven. He's the one to bring forth the establishment and the governing ruling body of Israel, right? So Hebrews, the 5th chapter, the 5th verse, right? So also Christ glorified not himself to be made an high priest, but he that said unto him, thou art my son, today have I begotten thee. As he saith also in another place, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So he is a priest after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he has offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him, that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. No? So this is showing you what? That, the humility that he displayed to offer himself up as a sacrifice for the whole nation. Verse 8, though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him, all the Israelites that obey him, right? Called of God and high priest after the order of Melchizedek. So he's the only high priest, right? He's the high priest. He's the priest over all priests after the order of Melchizedek from the lineage of Judah. The only man that can open up those seals, those seven seals in the book of Revelation, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and go to Hebrews 6 and 20, right? Okay. So let's go to let's start at verse 18. And I'm going to go right into verse 18. I'm going to go right into chapter 7 and finish this off. Hebrews 6 and 18. That by two immutable things in which it was impossible for God to lie. So God's not a liar, right? We might have in strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. So we got to lay hold the hope that's set upon us. And we just read how Yahawashi was that man to bring salvation. He was a sacrifice to bring the salvation to Israel, right? For our sins, right? And he's a high priest after the order of Melchizedek, doing the priestly things, healing, reverencing, giving, ministering unto our brothers and sisters through the laws, statutes, and commandments of these scriptures. We were given that, okay? So, and through his priest order, right? So with that said, let me read verse 9. Verse 19, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, in which entereth into that within the veil, whither the forerunner is for us entered, even Yahawashi made an high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, right? So moving on, let's read chapter 7. All right, Hebrews 7:1, right? I'm gonna read this whole chapter too because it's important. I'm gonna break it bit by bit, right? So Hebrews 7:1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, being first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, right? King of Salem, king of peace, right? Because what is Salem? What it means peace. And who's king of peace? Yahawashi. Reference point, Isaiah 9:6. All right. So verse 3, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of spoil. So this is just giving a reference point to how Abraham gave reference to this man who had no beginning or end, who was the priest of the Most High, right? Verse 5, and verily that they that are of the sons of Levi who receive the office of the priesthood have a commandment to take the tithes of the people according to the law, that is, of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. So what is this telling you? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, understanding the three patriarchs that bring up the 12 patriarchs of Israel, right? Levi is one of those 12. But his father was Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, whose father was his father, which be his grandfather, would be Isaac, right? And his great great grandfather would be Abraham, who produced Isaac. Abraham gave 10% of pretty much a tenth of whatever he had to Melchizedek, which shows you what? In this being an incarnation of Yahawashi, right? One of the 7 incarnations, all right? He gives this man that much reverence, which shows you what? The power and the reverence that the priest order of Melchizedek provides, man. That that priest order, all right? What's the best word I can use? That priest order, of how much high esteem that the Most High holds that one in comparison to the Levitical priest order, which is according to the law. But let me keep reading. Verse 7, and without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better, right? And here, men that die, let's see, did I skip up? Yeah, so verse 6, but he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham and blessed him that had the promises, right? So he blessed Abraham that had the promises. Verse 7, and without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better, right? And here, men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them of whom it is witness that he liveth, Slakia. And as I'm going to read verse 9, and it says, and as I may say, Levi also receiveth tithes, paid tithes to Abraham, for he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. So what is this saying? It's saying that Levi, the tribe of Levi, who paid tithes to Abraham, and that's metaphorically speaking, right? Because the Levitical priest order, all right, the Levitical priest, right? The tribe of Levi received the tithes of all the 12 tribes, land, stock, food, and whatnot, so on and so forth, tenth of whatever they made, right? They gave it to the Levitical priest order. And in comparison, they were in the seed line, they were in the loins of Abraham, who gave tithes to who? Melchizedek, who was a priest of the Most High. Which is showing you what? Showing you that the Melchizedek priest order is here, the Levitical priest order is here. That there's a hierarchy dealing with that priest order, which is the reason why you see priests of all the 12 tribes, right? Amongst all the brethren. Okay, because when you deal with like was it Zechariah? When you deal with Zechariah, I believe it's 12th chapter in the 7th verse, it tells you that Judah, the 10th of Judah shall be woken up first. Yeah, the 10th of Judah shall be woken up first. And that's talking about the kingdom of Judah, but guess what? Judah is the name of that kingdom, which includes Levi and Benjamin. Okay? This is the reason why we have to go to Genesis the 49th chapter to understand that verse, right? Let me go back and pull this out again, right? So Genesis 49. Okay? So this is the book of Genesis 49, right? The book of Genesis chapter 49 in verse, I'm going to go to verse 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet. So the lawgiver shall not, the scepter and the rulership and the exaltation shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver. Listen to this. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet. So the lawgiver, him giving the laws, right? Until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Not only the 12 tribes waking up through the apostleship, through the prophets and whatnot, but also through the priestly order. And what priest order? The Melchizedek priest order. So let me go to Hebrews, the 7th chapter, and I'm gonna continue on in the 10th verse. For he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him, which basically tells you that the Melchizedek order not only predates, but it's exalted above the Levitical priest order, which is not exclusive to one tribe of Israel, because there were no tribes when Melchizedek walked the earth. We just had our forefathers that we come from the loins of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Before that, Shem, through the different genealogical lines. So we have to understand that. So verse 11, if therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron? Right? So this is just giving you a question. So if the Levitical priest order was established, then why would there be another priest order? So watch this, verse 12. For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law, right? For he of whom these things are spoken pertaining to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar, right? So when the Levitical priest order was established, when Moses came on the scene, through and also to Aaron and his sons, right? Dealing with that, you have what? You have, the priest order of the Levitical priest, right? Everybody was giving them tithes and giving them reverence. Where was the tribe of Judah at that point? They were doing the same thing, right? But remember, the scepter now shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver between his feet. Why? Because Yahawashi predates all of this. And he comes from the loins of Judah, which is the reason why you give Yahweh, which means Yahweh, which means the Most High's praise, right? So a change was made to the law, right? So let's read this. Verse 14, for it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, right? It is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, right? Of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And it is yet far more evident for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arises another priest who is made not after the law of carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life. Why? And what's the point? Yahawashi is the word. He is the life. He is the breath of life. All right. And he's the one that establishes everything, which includes the law. The law spoke of him. In the scriptures chronicleize him before the law. And this is the reason why we can't exalt the Levitical priest order over the Melchizedek priest order. And it's the reason why you had the name Yahweh's praise is speaking of the tribe of Judah we're being given that praise. We're reading it right here in the book of Hebrews, man. Okay. And this is not saying that the Levitical priest order is not going to have its place even now in the kingdom of heaven. But the reason why there's priests, you know what I'm saying? Because even I'll be considered a priest, you know what I'm saying? From the tribe of Gad, you know what I'm saying? And other brothers from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, so on and so forth, not being of the tribe of Levi. This priest order is of a higher level. It's exalted above the Levitical priest order because Levi was in the loins of Abraham when Abraham gave the tithing to Melchizedek, who is the incarnation of who the world calls Yahawashi. And this is the reason I said this once before, but this is the reason why Genesis 49 is key when it tells you about the scepter that shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver between his feet, talking about the loins of seed line. All right, and what lawgiver was that? The Melchizedek priest order, when Yahawashi Shiloh, the counsel of the Prince of Peace, same title that Melchizedek was given, would come in these latter days, man. So let me continue reading. It says, who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life. For he testifieth thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment going before the wicked. For the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did, by the which we draw nigh unto the Most High. Right? We draw nigh unto the Most High. Right? But it says, for the law made nothing perfect. Because when you deal with the law back then, the law is perfection. But keeping the laws is not the ultimate thing, is not what's going to save you. Keeping the laws is part of salvation, but you also have to have the faith of who the world calls Christ, Yahawashi, coming and dying for your sins, and in him, like it says, him being the gathering of the people. You know what I'm saying? That's what ultimately will save you. That's why let me read this again, right? It says, for the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did, by the which we draw nigh unto the Most High. So the hope of him, because of his sacrifice, dying on the cross for the nation of Israel's sin, right? That's the hope that we have. Because even in this carnal fleshly bodies, we cannot keep these laws 100%. We only can keep them to the best of our ability, going back to the laws, going back to the scriptures, right? So verse 20, in so much as not without an oath, he was made priest. For those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him that said unto him, the Lord swear and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. By so much was Yahawashi made a surety of a better testament, right? Us in that better testament is the testament, the covenant that's soon to come when we're establishing the kingdom of heaven, which is us being back in the land of Israel and Israel ruling over these nations with a rod of iron, right? And also to the things that entail what? Us having the laws established in our minds according to Hebrews 8 and 8 so that we won't go off again, right? Let's see. For those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him that said unto him, the Lord swear and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. By so much was Yahawashi made a surety of a better testament. They truly were many priests because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. But this man, because he continueth forever, has an unchangeable. I'm going to read this again. But this man, because he continueth forever, right? He has 7 incarnations, and the 7th one is soon to come, right? He was Adam. He was Adam. He was Melchizedek. He was Adam, Melchizedek. He was Isaac. He was also trying to forget his name from the book of Kings, but he was not a king, but he was several different men. I can't remember every last one of them right now, but he was 07, he was 06, and then the 7th will be his second return, right? So we have to understand this is what's going to go down, right? Because nothing can be changed, right? Let me read this again. So, but this man, because he continueth forever, because his 7th incarnation, which is soon to come, is completion, right? And he was the first man, Adam, and the laws came through him because he's the word in the flesh, right? But this man, because he continueth forever, has an unchangeable priesthood, the unchangeable priesthood of the Melchizedek Priest order. Wherefore he is able also to save to save them to the uttermost that come unto God by him, seeing he ever liveth to make intercession for them. He made intercession with us because of the sacrifice and through his priest order, which is ordained by the Most High, which is unchangeable. So it's through him, through Judah, right? Through the Melchizedek order, through Judah, through Yahawashi, who is not only a Judite, going to be a Judite when he comes back, and also to the priest order that he established when he was Melchizedek Melchizedek on this earth back during the time of Abraham. Okay, verse 25. Wherefore he is able to save them to the uttermost that come unto the Most High by him, seeing he ever liveth to make intercession for them. For such an high priest became us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than the heavens, who needed not daily, as those high priests, to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins, then for the people's. For this he did once when he offered up himself. Because going back to the first man Adam, when he was Adam, he did go off, right? Because through the sin of Eve, he also sinned. He sacrificed himself for the sins of Adam, but also too for the whole nation of Israel, which was during the time of Adam. Dealing with Adam, there were more than one Adam on the earth, more than one Eve on the earth. We were going off, right? And I can divulge in the prophets, even going back to the time of Adam, but the point is, he sacrificed himself for the nation of Israel's sins and for his sins as Adam. He had no sin when he was on the earth as Yahawashi, as who the world calls Christ. All right. But he was at great sacrifice. Right. So let's read this again. Verse 27, who needed not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins as Adam, then for the people's, which is which are the 12 tribes, right? For this he did once when he offered up himself. For the law maketh men high priests which have infirmity, but the word of the oath which was since the law maketh the Son who is consecrated forevermore. Right? So everything begins and ends with Yahawashi. All right? And he comes from the loins of Judah, and we have to reverence and respect that. All right? And it's, you know what I'm saying? Because he's the law. He's the word in the flesh, which is the law. Okay? And the priest order that he established is the ones that we're following right now, which is the reason why the priest order of all the 12 tribes that we're dealing with right now are, you know what I'm saying, the 12 tribes that are following a priest order, all right, are following right now, following the Melchizedek Priest order, which is the reason why they're priests, all right? So with that said, man, you know, just hopefully brothers and sisters was edified, and hopefully brothers and sisters understand this. All right. So with that said, I want to say, call Allah Yahawashi Shai, Rock the Yahweh, Rock the Shai, call Allah Yahawashi Shai. Much love to the brothers and sisters in this truth, and the sincere elders and priests and prophets in this truth. That said, this is Rayab God. Till next time, Shalom.